Guess who's woken up after all this chaos? The European Union. Suddenly, they're worried about the Red Sea, about the escalating violence. So what is Brussels doing? They're preparing an armada. The EU's political wing has approved the proposal. It aims to send warships to the Red Sea. Now, the details are sketchy. EU diplomats are hoping to set up the mission by the 19th of February. That's when EU foreign ministers will meet. Until then, it's all backroom work, like pushing the proposal through parliaments, deciding who will send warships, and also picking the mission leaders. Reports say the big three will kick things off. That's France, Germany, and Italy. France and Italy already have warships in the Red Sea. Germany is sending a frigate, so chances are more deployments will follow. But who will command this armada? Who will lead it? Will they submit to the US-led coalition? Initial reports say no. This is going to be a 100% European mission. The money will come from EU, the warships will come from EU, and EU leaders will be in command, which brings us to the scope of this mission. Is it to patrol, protect, or attack? Again, there is no clarity because the European Union itself is divided. Let's look at some recent developments. Last week, the US and the UK launched missiles at Houthi targets. 10 nations supported that mission. Among them were Germany, the Netherlands, and Denmark. But other EU members stayed away, like Italy, Spain, and France. Listen to French President Emmanuel Macron's justification for this.
France decided not to join a coalition that sought to carry out or had carried out preemptive strikes against the Houthis on their soil. Why? Precisely because we have a stance that seeks to avoid any escalation, but we are present to preserve the freedom of navigation.
So Macron won't support strikes. He wants to defend against the Houthis, not attack them. Honestly, it's a tough call. If you attack the Houthis, you get a target on your back. Just look at the Americans and the British. They hit back against the Houthis, but now their ships are being targeted.
The Yemeni armed forces consider all American and British warships and vessels participating in the aggression against our country as hostile targets within the bank of targets of our forces.
So attacking is risky, but so is standing by. The Red Sea is an important trade route. It carries around 12% of global trade. Also, 40% of this trade is between Asia and Europe, of the trade through the Red Sea. And a lot of that is energy supplies. Europe used to buy gas from neighboring Russia. But after the Ukraine war, that stopped. So the European Union looked elsewhere, like Qatar, for example. Qatar shipped 75 million metric tons of LNG in 2023. LNG is liquefied natural gas. Qatar exported 75 million tons of it last year. And out of this, 14 million went to Europe. But now there's a problem. Qatar is ditching the Red Sea. Their state-owned firm, Qatar Energy, won't use the route anymore. They want to wait and watch how the situation evolves. If the attacks continue, they could sail around Africa, which means more time, more cost. And this has spooked Europe. Their trade chief recently warned of disruptions. Listen to this, and I'm quoting, "The effects on oil and gas prices are contained, but certainly this is a risk for the European economy, which we need to follow very closely." Days later, the EU is preparing an armada. What does that tell you? That Brussels is spooked. And it's not just energy. Most goods coming from Asia could become more expensive, like coffee. Europe's coffee beans come from Vietnam and Indonesia. They take the Red Sea route. But now container prices are surging. It's almost 150% higher in the Asia-Europe route. As a result, the EU is looking elsewhere, like Brazil and Uganda. Despite that, the outcome is the same: more expensive coffee. Now, imagine this happening to all consumer goods. What will be the result? Higher inflation, and that's what Europe is scared of. They spent most of 2023 battling inflation. Some countries like Germany are in recession, so they cannot afford more inflation. They need seamless trade. It's also a lesson in strategic dependence. Europe first bet on Russia. Around 40% of their gas was sold by Moscow. But when Putin invaded Ukraine, that bet unraveled. Europe's gas prices shot up. And now the same thing is happening again. Most European ports depend on the Red Sea. As a result, trade is down. EU exports dropped 2% in December. EU imports fell 3.1%, which is why Europe is deploying warships. It will add to the military muscle in the Red Sea. But the question is, will it deter the Houthis? There are no indications of a climb down yet. So European armada or not, the danger remains.